Welcome back to Endangered Species Spotlight. This week we are talking about the Everglade snail kites. Now, to start off, snail kites as a whole aren't actually endangered. Like, the species overall is not endangered. It's doing fine in other places, but specifically the Everglades snail kite, which I think is a subspecies of the snail kite as a whole, that is endangered, and that's the one we will be talking about. So, snail kites are a type of bird of prey. They are quite common in a bunch of areas that they live, such as some in South America, like Ecuador, but they are considered to be endangered in other areas, mainly Florida. So, in lots of places they live, like Ecuador and Cuba, their population is fine. But in Florida, the population of the Everglades snail kite specifically is around 400 breeding pairs, which is approximately 800 individuals of breeding age, plus a couple miscellaneous ones that are older or younger than breeding age. So the specifically Everglades snail kites are only found in the Florida Everglades, and the main threat to them is habitat loss due to the Everglades being destroyed. Large areas of the Florida Everglades, as well as wetlands in general, kind of all over the world, are a very, very at-risk habitat due to them being drained and destroyed for industrialization and agriculture and all of that. Wetlands are overall a very, very diverse biome, but they're also a very threatened one because lots of people just don't like them because they tend to be a little bit gross and a little bit weird and have some weird animals in them, so they're not as, concerned with the conservation, unlike some areas like the Arctic or the Amazon forest that are a bit more charismatic biomes to care about. Not a lot of people actually care about wetlands overall, which is unfortunate because then that causes all of the biodiversity to drop. Case in point, the Everglades snail kite. With all the Florida Everglades being, changed and destroyed and massive habitat loss, then these birds don't have anywhere to live and they don't have anything to eat. Interestingly though, there is a type of snail, the apple snail, that is incredibly invasive in lots of areas, but again, specifically in the Florida Everglades. Now, it is very invasive, so it's causing a lot of problems in a bunch of areas, but one unexpected outcome is it's actually helping the snail kite population, because there's so many of them that these snail kites eat so many of them. So this really invasive species has become a massive food source for the snail kites, which is very interesting because usually invasive species don't have that many benefits, but this is one unexpected one. It is helping increase the population because there's so many of them. Kind of one of the risks they don't really have to worry about is food, because there's so many of this, stupidly invasive snail in the Everglades. There are also snail kite conservation efforts, which will be in the comments, but the population looks like it is coming back in Florida, which is good, largely due to this invasive snail, but also due to protection of the Everglades. There's lots of areas that are becoming protected now, which is good because it provides more habitat for them to live, but weirdly enough, a large part of the reason that they're bouncing back is this snail. So we still don't love it being there because it is very invasive and causes other problems, but it is helping with the snail kites.